welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, hi, I'm Nicole Khumalo. Welcome. I hope you stick around and enjoy some more of my videos. Today's video is a book, not a book haul. I should do a book haul though at some point here. Maybe not the ones that I've already accumulated, just like new books. We'll see. Are we okay with this lighting? Because it is a little dark, but I feel like I can work with it. Anyway, today's video is a recent reads wrap up. Calling it my recent reads recap. So the last book video that I did was last year, and I think I did my reading wrap up for August, or probably like July, August, I can't remember, but it was, I know I stopped in August. So September till now I haven't done another reading dedicated video, or like book dedicated video, and I wanted to film another one of those. So today's video is my recent reads recap. So I'm gonna mention some of the books. I pulled books from November last year all the way through to now. So I'm going to tell you about the books that I actually remember and I actually enjoyed. Not all of the books that I've read in that period, because there's actually quite a lot of books. And I didn't do September, October, but I just pulled from November through to now. And I just pulled some of the books that I enjoyed quite a bit. And then I also pulled some of the popular books that I don't really remember enjoying that much. And when I say popular books, I mean like books that were everywhere on my Bookstagram and my book talk. But yeah, I have a list here. It's a lengthy list, but we're gonna run through it because I don't want this video to be too long. But I do enjoy reading. If you're new here, I love reading. I will pick reading over watching TV all the time, but I watch TV with my mom. We watch TV together and we watch YouTube videos together. So most of my day, if I'm not filming or cooking or something, I'm watching TV with my mom. And then she really wants me to watch TV with her. Like, she doesn't want to watch YouTube videos like for people that we watch together. She doesn't want to watch them alone, and she doesn't want me to watch them alone. So if I'm not there to watch, she doesn't watch anyone that we watch together. She kind of waits for me to finish what I'm doing, and then we watch the people together. So that leaves a very small window of reading space at bedtime. And so I call it with the TV around 9-10 o'clock max. I'm like, okay, we're done watching, and then I come upstairs and I get ready for bed, and then I read a little bit in bed before I fall asleep. So that's how I get my reading done. Most of the time it is that little time that I have in bed before I pass out. So starting with one of the books that I had, it was like my most anticipated read, only because books with characters named Knox are automatically like my favorite books. Like, the character Knox in every book that I've read him in is my favorite person in the world. And so I just have this high placement of a Knox character, and reading a new book that has the character named Knox, it scares me a little bit, because I don't want anyone to take away from how incredible the previous Knoxes were. But this Knox wasn't too bad. Actually, this Knox was really good. Loved it. The Knox character in this book was pretty mild in comparison to how great the previous Knoxes are, but I loved this book. And I actually had the physical copy before I even knew. There's actually a couple books in this series. Things we never got over, things we never got to say. I don't know, but the other one is pink or purple. I think it's purple. I wanted to buy it, but I didn't end up getting it. But I loved this book. So it's about this character who has a twin sister, and her twin sister kind of has a bad rep. And so when she comes from whatever city she comes from, she comes to the town where the twin sister has a bad rep. Everyone mistakes her for the twin sister. The twin sister has a daughter, but then she abandoned the daughter and left. Apparently that's normal. It's hectic. So she abandons the daughter, so the sister comes into town to look after the child, so that child protection services doesn't take her and put her into the system. Crazy book. because the twin sister's wild. She's out of control. But the other sister, she's lovely, love her. And then obviously she gets with Knox at some point in this book. Yeah, I just love it. There's like a very not kumbaya, there's a very like tight-knit community in this small little town that her twin wreaked havoc in, and I like it. There's a little bit of a plot twist, but it's nothing crazy, like it's not revolutionary, but I like it. So I think I give it 5 stars. But I finished that on the 1st of November. So the dates that I have written down are the dates that I finished. And then the second one that I read is Heartless. I'm gonna put the e-books that I read that I don't have physical copies of. I'll put a picture up here. This book is in that Chestnut Spring series by Elise Silva. I'm pretty sure it's Elise Silva. This one is Heartless. It's book number 2 in the series. This series was wow. They were pushing it so hard on Book Talk and Bookstagram, and so I was like, okay, let me see what it's about. And I feel like I was underwhelmed a little bit. I think I was underwhelmed by the first book in the series. This one I loved. So it's about a grumpy single dad who lives in like the mountains. I don't know how much I can say about these books without giving too much away, but it is about this grumpy single dad who lives up in the mountains, very wealthy, and he has a kid with his ex-partner, and so he hires a nanny to look after the kid and just like be there for him, help him as he has special needs. And yeah, I loved it. It tugged on my heartstrings. I didn't expect it to, but it did. And I love it when books do that, when books can really like pull me in and break me. Love that. It sounds like there's something wrong with me, but I really enjoy it. There's a time and place for everything, and this one really, it was perfect. So loved it. I think I gave it 5 stars. I think I'll be reading the rest of the series. I just don't read them all at once most of the time. Sometimes I do, but most of the time I don't. So yeah, I finished that on the 7th of November, and then on the 14th of November I finished the Twisted series by Anna Huang. Actually no, I didn't finish the series. I picked up Twisted Hate by Anna Huang. I have the physical book here. This is the book. Love Anna Huang. Sometimes she misses, but like for the most part I feel like she does the damn things. So these are the first 2 books in the series, and then this is the 3rd book. Is it focusing? Those are the first 2 books. Actually no, yeah, these are the first 2 books in the series. This one is the 3rd book. Loved this one. You know what, I'm not gonna say I loved it, but it was nice. I know all the hype is on the 4th book. I just haven't decided to read it yet because I don't want to be let down. But yeah, this one was cool. It was enemies to lovers. Not like hectic enemies to lovers, but it was enemies to lovers. The 2 main characters, I think his name is Josh, and the other one's name is Jules. Is her name Jules? Jules, yeah. Josh and Jules. Jules's friend is dating Josh's best friend, basically. I think, if I'm remembering that correctly. So Josh's best friends, they had a falling out, I remember now. He was really, really tight with the first book's MC. And then Jules is friends with the girl, I think. I can't really remember properly. This was last year, but the book is okay. I would totally pick it up. I wouldn't suggest you don't pick it up, but also like I wouldn't urge you to run and go get it. It was cool. I bought the whole series before I read any of the books, and I absolutely loved the first book, Twisted Love. I was obsessed. Okay, and then the second book was okay. This one, love it. And in this book we meet Christian Harper. Do we? We do. Do we? We do. In this book we meet Christian Harper, and love that because I'm excited. He's all the rage in the other book. But yeah, read that one, enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. And then after that one, on the 22nd of November, I finished Love Not Qualified. So I saw this book all over my Instagram, and I was like, oh, this looks cute, and it's got like an interracial couple. Like, that's totally my vibe. So I picked it up. it wasn't hitting for me. I enjoyed it, but I don't think I gave it 5 stars. I probably gave it like 4 stars. I didn't connect with the book. And that happens sometimes, so I'm not really blaming the book, but it was cute. It's about this girl who applies for a job that she doesn't qualify for, but for some reason, she also makes a profile on like a dating site or something, or it's a new dating app where it unlocks different like information about the person you're talking to as you keep talking. I think it's a cool concept. The app I think is really cool. So you guys start talking, there's no pictures, no nothing, and if you gel, the longer you talk, then you unlock things. So you can't share any information about you. The app will automatically just kind of like unlock as you guys keep talking. I think it's a really cool app. Anyway, the guy that she speaks to on the app just so happens to be the guy that owns the company that she's applying for, but they don't know that because they don't know anything about each other at this point. No pictures, nothing. And so she applies, she gets an interview, I think, and she gets a job. It's really, really cute. But the relationship, it was cute. It just didn't like hit for me the way that I'm either reeled in or it just doesn't. And this one didn't, but that's okay. I would totally suggest you pick it up. You might fall in love with this book. It was cute. Office romance after they figured out who they are. It was cute. It was very cute. And then after that, I read The Surrogate by Penelope Ward. This one also I don't think was a 5-star read for me. So I can't remember the details exactly, but this girl, is like, her family is close friends with this guy's family, and so, but this guy is like looking for a surrogate. He wants to have a child, and so his ex-in-laws, because his initial partner passed away, I think a couple of years ago. She had cancer, and so her parents and him obviously got very close. They were married. He told them that he wanted to have a child, and so they suggested this girl that they know, sweet girl, and so she goes to London, becomes a surrogate. It's a whole thing, and they end up like falling in love. It was okay. Yeah, there's a lot more to that story obviously, but it was okay. I don't think, maybe 4 stars, maybe 3.5, I can't remember. And then I read Love Redesigned. You guys, Lauren Asher, if I want to read a book that I know is going to hit every single time, I'm going to pick up a Lauren Asher book. She just does it for me. She's one of my favorite authors. I love her like so much. Love Redesigned is part of a series, and the series isn't even finished, but I think this is the second book in the series. I'll pop a picture right here. I think it's the purple one. The first book was pink, unless I'm mixing them up. But so I just looked up a little Goodreads synopsis. It's this, the start of this book is everything. So this girl's driving home. She's apparently a very big deal in this town. She's coming home for the first time after calling off her wedding, or her engagement rather, with her ex. She's coming home. She's kind of emotional. She's an emotional, I don't want to say wreck. She's going through a lot, and she's crying in her car. And this guy drives a supercar, and he's like sitting in traffic. He's trying to rush to his nephew's recital. And he's thinking, okay, if I just, break the law a little bit and go, in this lane that I'm not supposed to go in, I can make it and not be late, because he has a reputation for being late. But as he decides to just, I'm going to do it, he thinks about it, and then he does it. And as he does it, this girl, she's obviously crying, and she's not driving the way that she's supposed to. She doesn't look to see what's happening, and she anyway, it's a whole thing. They get into a little bit of an accident. It's a big deal because she's a big deal in the town. I think they're like founding families in this town, or rather maybe they're just a big deal. I can't remember. But the two people, they know each other. They grew up together. The two families are friends, and everyone thought they would end up together. And so it's a whole thing. They meet up. It's a big deal. But I love this story. I love it. They enemies to lovers, they don't like each other, but they end up falling in love, and it's so cute. I love it. I would tell you to run and get this one. This one I love. Love, 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 love. I would always recommend Lauren Asher book all the time. She does it so well. As I was reading the book, I would be like, oh my gosh, you'll never guess what just happened in this book, and I'd tell people. And they would be hooked too. They'd be like, oh my gosh. The next book that I read was Broken Beginnings. Don't think I gave it 4 stars. I definitely don't remember giving it 5 stars. I will try and like go back in my archives and kind of put the ratings for all the books that I mentioned here, but I don't think I gave it 5 stars. It's about this lady who was living in a city, and then her, like, a neighbor in her apartment complex, she heard an incident happen, and it kind of shook her, and so she moves back home. And back home is like this countryside place, and she just gets back into that community where she grew up. And all of these guys that she used to go to school with or whatever, they used to bully her apparently. And then one of her, like, her main bully is the person she falls in love with. Classic. Yeah, I think I remember the book now, and I think it was okay. I'm not like, you have to run and go get it, but it was okay. Next one that I read was The Next Best Fling. I remember this one. I don't think I gave it 5 stars. If I did, I recant that rating and I give it like 3.75. It's about this girl who has a best friend, a guy best friend in school, but then he dates her best friend or something, even though she liked him first. And so they grow up or whatever, and then this guy proposes to the best friend. And this girl, she's a little bit on, I think she's a plus size girly. She's obviously, she has a front row seat at this, love blooming between her best friend and her ex best friend. And it gets so messy. She meets this guy. They hit it off, and then this best friend, the guy best friend that dated the ex best friend girl, he starts acting funny and really cute. There's a lot of mess from the guy best friend because that whole thing unravels, and he ends up finding out that she liked him at some point. It's a whole thing. I would totally, if you like drama, there's a lot of drama in that book. So I would tell you to pick it up. It's called, what? The Next Best Fling. Yeah. If you like drama, pick it up. There's a lot. It's kind of messy, but okay. Next book. I think I'm going to have to switch cameras because my battery's flashing. So let me switch the camera and I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. My next read. I found a new favorite author. Her name is Hannah Cohen. And the book that, got me in love with her is called Her Greatest Mistake. And this book, when I read it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is perfection. I have never, it was my favorite book, or close, it was right up there with my absolute favorite reads. These two people, they used to be friends, and then they had a falling out, and then they went their separate ways, but their families have always been close family friends. And so even though they weren't interacting, their families have always stayed in contact. He's an athlete, professional hockey player. She runs a vet clinic, or rather she works at a vet clinic, but her dream is to run one or own one of her own one day. And so they end up meeting up again after all those years, after all of that bad blood. And so after all of that and years that have gone past, they end up reconnecting. And obviously it's very enemies at this point. And the book goes on and on and on. And you see their issue that they left, they left on sour terms, both of them. You kind of see those issues unfold, and they, work through them and try to get over them. I loved this book. I love this book so much. It was perfect. If I had to tell you to go get one book here, it would be this one. I absolutely loved it. I want to tell you more. I literally want to tell you everything that happens in this book, but I can't. I want you to read it. The falling out happened when they were younger. Now they're grown-ups and they have jobs. Go read the book. It's amazing. Hannah Cohen. I had to pick up another one of her books. So naturally, after I picked up that one, I read Her Greatest Adventure, which is, I think, the story about his younger sister and his best friend. So in this book, all the books are standalone, so you can read each of them without having to read the previous one or the next one. He has a best friend. They've been best friends for forever. I think he's an artist. And then he also has the younger sister, and everyone loves her. Obviously, she's the baby. And she is a wild card. She's a free spirit. She loves to do whatever she wants. And she plans to travel, but her travel partner ends up having to cancel, I think, very last minute. So she needs to find a new travel partner because her parents are a little bit nervous about her having to travel alone. So they ask the older son's best friend if he's willing to go with her, and they end up falling in love. It's crazy how this progressed. It was very gently done. It was perfectly done, actually. He was very polite about it, as polite as you can be, falling for your best friend's younger sister, but he was very polite about it, and it was just so organic that as a reader, you were rooting for them. You weren't angry, that he would do that. Like, it was perfect. That Her Greatest Adventure I finished on the 5th of Jan, and then after that I picked up A Cage of Crimson, because one of my goals this year was to read more romantasy books, which is romance fantasy books. And so I picked up this A Cage of Crimson. It's about werewolves. It was cute. I think I gave it 5 stars. I could have given it 5 stars because it was beautiful. I loved it. The beginning, it starts off strong, and then it kind of like fizzles out. There's world building, and then it picks up again. I loved it. I absolutely loved this book. Go pick it up. It's about this werewolf girl who was kind of not held captive. She didn't know she was captive, but she had to live in this community that hated her and hated her mom, but her mom passed away, so she's alone. She doesn't have any family or friends. Everyone hates her, and so she was just working in this community. She had a roof over her head. She had a little bit of money that she was making, if any, and then she was vital to the production of a product. So she felt like she didn't mind staying because she had something to do. And people come in. It's a whole thing, kind of like uproot her life at this point. And she's living in this community where everyone hates her, but she's not held captive. In her mind, she's protected in a protected community, because they don't allow them to leave the community, and they don't allow people to come into the community. So in her mind, she doesn't see it, or she didn't see it as her being held captive. She just thought she was in a protected, gated community, and even though everyone hates her, she still had a purpose, and so she was just living her life. But then she gets captured for real, and they take her out of this gated community, and those people try to show her that there's life outside of this place, and you were actually held captive there, even though they kind of broke her out, but in her mind she feels like they've kidnapped her. It's a whole thing. Go read the book. I enjoyed it. I think I gave it 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. And then I enjoyed it so much that I read the second book because it kind of ended on a cliffhanger. I had to know what happens next. So I read A Cage of Kingdoms. And this book is beautiful as well. You get to see her become this person that she was always meant to be, because she was being, I don't want to say too much, but you kind of see her evolve as a person, and she becomes this gorgeous, strong, important person who helps other kingdoms, and it's crazy. Go read the book. I can't say too much, but yeah. And then I picked up another Hannah Cohen book because at this point I'm obsessed with her. I picked up Strung Along. This one is about a grumpy I think, okay, his dad or his family owns a farm, a ranch. They call it a ranch. His family owns a ranch, and his grandparents, he lives with his grandparents. His parents passed away when he was younger. His mom passed away when he was younger, and his dad left a while ago. I can't remember, one of the two. But his grandparents own a ranch, and he obviously works on this ranch, but he pursues a singing career. And he's good at it. He went on tour and everything, but then he had like a setback, and so he has to come home. And obviously his grandmother loves him regardless of what he does, but his grandfather was like this. They live in a small community, and in the community it was frowned upon for him to leave the ranch to go and become a singer. So he comes back and everyone's just kind of like, that wasn't cool of you to do. And so the grandfather's, obviously he hears this from his older, very set in their ways friends, and he adopts that attitude of, oh, he shouldn't have left, so he treats him a little bit funny. And then this girl comes into town. She leaves her fiance because her fiance cheated on her, so she leaves the city that they lived in and she moves to this random small town in the middle of nowhere. She literally randomly picked a place on a map, and she drove there and she started living there. And it's this whole story unpacks her and him and their relationship, how they got together or how they get together, and then how he tackles this whole drama with him singing. Beautiful story, and I would definitely suggest you go read it if you want to. Obviously these are all if you want to, but Strung Along, it was really cute. I think it's a whole series. I'm definitely gonna pick up more Hannah Cohen books. As I told you, I'm obsessed at this point. And then we're down to the last three, so we're gonna make this quick. So that one was on the 8th of Feb is when I finished it, and then on the 12th of Feb I finished Amid Clouds and Bones by Ella Fields. This book, I saw a lot of people talking about it. It wasn't like all over my Instagram, but anytime someone would recommend a book, like there would be, if you like this but with this and this, read this, it would be one of the books that they would suggest. Loved this book. This was Enemies to Lovers, but like not like that play, like this is serious Enemies to Lovers. Like they hated each other, loathed is the word. They loathed each other so much that they kind of like tried to hurt each other and get at each other, but they were promised to wed in order to build that connection between the two families. So before they were even born, they were promised to wed, and so they have to get married at some point. And they start out loathing each other, but eventually it works out, as these things do in books. They eventually takes a long, this eventually is really, really long. Like the book is very, very they let the characters hate each other, and then it gets to caring for each other, and then they love each other. It's amazing. I love it. It has dragons, it has fire sprites or something, unless I'm confusing it. It's got dragons though. It's got fae, so fae like fairies. Beautiful book, beautiful story. I'm just now getting into like rewatching shows. I don't think I'm at the reread books stage, but I love this book, and I would definitely suggest you pick it up if you want something different. It's different. Definitely pick it up. On the 14th, I finished The Unwanted Bride by Nadia Lee. Loved it. Go pick it up if you want to. But this guy, his family owns like a law empire, and he got his law degree but then pursued business, so he became an entrepreneur. And his mom, rather the people who run the family business, but his mom and his grandmother, they frown upon that, the fact that he didn't join the family business. And so they're just, every time they meet up, they just kind of like oh, don't you want to practice? You got that degree and you're not using it, blah, 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 blah. And he's just like, no, I'm happy where I'm at. Like, he's doing really well with his business. And then, lo and behold, we found out later on that there was a contract that was made on his behalf when he was unable to make decisions for himself. He was in hospital after, I think, like a skiing accident or something. Anyway, he was unable to make decisions, so his grandmother decided to meet with like a rivaling family, and they decided that they would marry off their children. So the son would marry one of the two daughters from the other family, and because he was unable to like be there and make the decision, they were allowed to do this. It's a whole thing. Legally it was allowed because he was, you know, unresponsive. So they made a contract, and so he was required to marry one of the daughters from the other side of the family, and he hated the other side of the family, but he hated the daughters even more because he felt like the one was a bimbo and the other one just spent money. Like, according to the research that he'd done, the other one just spends a lot of money, does nothing, and then the other one's just not great. And it's a whole thing. You see the story unfold as per usual, but I love this book. It's so cute. So they meet up. This guy meets one of the daughters, but he doesn't know it's one of the daughters because he doesn't know what they look like. And they mesh and they gel and they really get together. And unbeknownst to him, she's one of the daughters, and so he makes this elaborate plan to go against that contract that they made, you know, without his consent. And he, you know, macho, thinks he's like one. He brings this girl over to the family and introduces her as his fiance. They're getting married, thinking that he bested his family. But then he finds out that, you know, this is exactly what they wanted, and that pisses him off so much. He gets so angry, and then he hates her. So just read the book. Read the book. It's amazing. The last book that I read, which was on the 24th of February is when I finished it, was Quicksilver. This is by Kelly Hart. Chef's Kiss. This is another romantic book. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Go read the book. I don't have much to say, but the girl comes from, so there's different worlds in this book, and there's like the gate to go through to other worlds is Quicksilver, like liquid silver. So the silver acts as a portal. So anyway, she gets captured for stealing, and then she gets put into this room where she is supposed to get killed, and she manages to, you know, get out of the person's hands that's supposed to kill her. She manages to like try to get away, and she sees the Quicksilver, but she sees the sword next to it. She grabs the sword and tries to, you know, fight her way out of it because she's very resourceful. She's looked after herself and her brother her whole life, so she knows how to fight, and she knows how to, you know, make things happen so they have enough to look after themselves. She grabs the sword. Apparently the sword has been dormant forever, and she's the first person that was able to grab the sword and use it. And then this Quicksilver becomes liquid, and someone comes through the liquid, grabs her because she's about to die, takes her into the Quicksilver to his world, and then she's in this new world with like fae people who have like sharp ears and long teeth, and there's vampires, there's fae, and there's a couple other species, I think fire sprites and just water sprites. There's like all these different species, and she now, obviously she's safe from the danger that was her home. Now she's in this new world, and she has to, because she was like, she's special, and this new world needs her help, and so she helps them very begrudgingly because she hates the guy who brought her because he's horrible to her. So understandably they don't get along, so it's very enemies. I'm seeing a lot of enemies to lovers now that I'm talking about it, but it's very much enemies to lovers. And so she helps them out, and they kind of, you know, they gel and they end up together. It's a whole thing. They save this guy's world, while simultaneously becoming his world. Basically, let me tell you this, there's a sequel coming out, I think July this year. I will be picking it up, I will be reading it, and I want a physical copy of this book. That's how much I enjoyed this book. It was so good. I just finished it a couple days ago, so amazing. Loved it. It is on the longer side, but it's so good. Go read the book. It's a beautiful story. I will definitely be picking up the second one, and I can't wait for it to come out. But yeah, that is every book that I've read so far. This little reading recap. Loved most of them. That's why I mentioned them. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. You can check me out on my Instagram and on my TikTok. I post fairly frequently on both of those. I also have a Facebook page. If you're on Facebook a lot, whenever I post a new video on here, a notice goes up on there as well, so you never miss a video. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye.